1947, Eastern Europe. A valuable stockpile of rift juice has been found in an abandoned processing facility. The Green Hand has found out and wants the resource for themselves, but the Soviet forces aren't going to let them get it that easy. Power armor soldiers show down against genetically modified superhumans in this week's game of Konflikt 47 2nd Edition. Hey, how's it going? Mike from Mike Rolls Dice. Welcome back for another game of Konflikt 47 2nd Edition. Shout out to my buddy Rev for coming and playing today. He's going to be playing his Soviet forces, and I'll be playing my Green Hand, aka the Axis forces. We have an awesome game in store today, but for now, let's get into the army list. Starting off with the Soviet forces here, we have a 1,500 point list. And these are Rev's beautifully painted miniatures. We have Commissar Gregor Drugov, who is leading the army with his 2 bodyguards. We have a veteran Soviet infantry squad there in the background, as well as a platoon commander with the flag bearer there. Next, there's a unit of Ursus infantry with their deadly weapons. They're really hard to kill as well with their ability. We have a unit of Moraz Ghoul with SMGs and close combat weapons. So next up is a heavy weapons platoon with its own platoon commander. There's a sniper rifle team with the anti-tank option. There is 2 anti-tank teams, 2 medium mortar teams, as well as a heavy machine gun team. Next up for the armored platoon, there is a Kazakh light walker and a T-34 ZP medium tank, which is the command vehicle. Now let's take a look at the Green Hand. So next up is just under 1,500 points of my Green Hand Axis forces. We have a platoon commander, Stahltruppen officer, with basic equipment, and he has a backup Stahltruppen bodyguard as well. Next up, we have a Volksgrenadier squad, which are equipped with assault rifles. Then we have 3 Stahltruppen squads in power armor. One squad has 2 SMGs and 1 LMG, and the other 2 squads both have 1 single light anti-tank weapon, 1 LMG, and 1 SMG, as well as some Panzerfausts. Next up, we have a Vogelspinner with the Maschensphere and a medium MMG. Then we have a Panzer IV using the Shockwave Schwerfield projector. And then, last but not least, we have a Panther X using the Light Schienenkanon, and that has the command vehicle upgrade. Also, something to note, these points lists and these army lists were put together before the recent point list updates and the FAQs. So, our points are somewhat different than the current values. Today we'll be using the Hold Until Relieved mission rule. And essentially that rusted centerpiece in the middle of the board with that cylindrical tube, it seems like potentially there's some sort of valuable resource that is in there that they need to take and hold. So this centerpiece here is the one objective that both armies need to try and take and hold till the end of the game. Now looking at the infiltrators here, the Moraz Ghoul as well as the spotter for the mortars is on the board up on top of that building, and then another spotter as well in the ruins. The rest of the units will be deployed as we pull dice out of the bag at the start of turn 1. Rev has a couple of his units off the board, including his Commissar, and I have a unit of Stahltruppen who will be coming in later. Alright, off to the start of turn 1. So first dice out of the bag is the Green Hand, and we have a unit of Volksgrenadier who are pushing up to get inside that building. Now any of the units coming in on the first turn don't need to pass a order test.
Go, go, go! Take cover! Der Kommandant is counting on us!
And with the Volksgrenadiers making their way inside that building, a unit of mortarmen come on from the other side of the table. Next up is the Vogelspinne approaching, and using its modern rift technology can spot some heat signatures behind the cover over there, and proceeds to scamper up on top of this barricade to get a clear shot at the Mora school with its Maschensphere. Activating its rift dice here to get the shockwave ability. For each model underneath the template, there will be 2 shots. Rolling for the damage. And half the squad is taken out, as well as getting 2 pins. So next up, another mortarman squad makes their way right next to their fellow mortarmen. And the heavy weapons platoon commander for the Soviets makes his way. That way he is able to snap 2 at a later time. So a anti-tank team makes its way onto the board and attempts to take a shot at the Vogelspinne, but unfortunately misses. Now Stahltruppen moving onto the board here, equipped with a light anti-tank gun. Taking a shot with the LMGs and anti-tank at the spotter up on the roof. But unfortunately, they don't find their mark. So now another unit of Stahltruppen is running onto the board. Their commandant has told them to get as close as they can to that rift juice, with their objective being getting to the center of the board as fast as possible. So now a Soviet sniper team moves up on that structure and is taking aim at the Stahltruppen.
Bring him down, brother.
Equipped with an anti-tank sniper rifle. They take a shot, but unfortunately misses. So now the Stahltruppen platoon commander moves onto the board and places himself by the building so he's near most of his units to encourage them. So another anti-tank team moving onto the board, but unfortunately doesn't have any good targets. Next up, a Soviet veteran unit is moving onto the board. I believe these are the heroes of the motherland, getting ready to move to the center objective.
Come on, men, let's go. The commander is waiting for us.
So now the Panzer IV, equipped with its Schwerfield projector, moves on and takes aim at the veteran squad that recently just came on the board. Expending a rift dice to activate the shockwave ability. Any model underneath the template will be getting 2 attacks. Rolling to damage here and takes out a couple of the veterans, turning them into mush. Now rolling, they also suffer 2 pins as well, D2 pins. So morale check after losing half their minis, but heroes of the motherland, they don't even dare run off the board. So next up we have a platoon commander with the flag here moving onto the board, as well as a heavy machine gun team placing themselves tactically right next to a building with good line of sight. So now the big Panther X moves onto the board, expends a rift dice, and lines up its light shinin' cannon, and with its hypervelocity round, misses the 2 guys sitting out in the open. So now the Soviet T-34 ZP with its Zukioi projector is taking aim at the Green Hand veteran Volksgrenadiers inside the building. And this has a pretty nasty ability, especially when it being inside a building. You score a certain amount of automatic hits, and it manages to take out quite a few of the Volksgrenadiers, as well as applying 2 pins. Morazgul attempting to activate now. They do pass their order test, taking 1 pin away and moving towards that Vogelspinne that is up on the structure. Now rolling for their RPGs here, they actually get to shoot 5 out of the 4 guys left. They manage to score a couple hits, and with a full damage roll, +6, takes out the Vogelspinne. Early on in turn 1, and we already have our first vehicle blown up and taken out. At the end of turn 1 here, you can see all the units that have moved onto the board. Rolling our rift dice here to see which are active. Now the Axis forces are able to reroll 1 rift dice for a rift weapon at the end of the turn, so that's what we're doing here. And the Soviets get a active rift dice as well. So start of turn 2 here. Now the harmonic resonance going off. This is the Soviet rule. On a 5-up, each unit gets a pin. And managing to score a couple of them here. Mostly on the veterans in the building and the Stahltruppen platoon commander.
Somebody shut this damn thing up!
Soviet heavy weapons platoon commander now snapping to and using both mortar teams, targeting the Stahltruppen squad that is over by the scaffolding.
Alright, men, bring it down!
And now both of those units are ranging in on a 5-up. So the Panther X now is advancing and moving forward, turning its turret at the heavy machine gun team there, expending a rift dice, but first shooting its medium machine guns at the heavy machine gun team by the building. Taking out 1, but unfortunately missing with the Shining Cannon. Heavy machine gun team activating now, passing the morale test, taking a pin away, and shooting with their mounted heavy machine gun at those Stahltruppen that are getting ranged in. Only scoring a singular pin. So the Stahltruppen squad that were getting ranged in, taking their order test here and passing it. After doing so, they are attempting to move forward, but first, Rev is using his platoon commander's guts to put a dice back in the bag. And then the Stahltruppen squad makes their way to the center, securing the only objective.
We must defend this structure with our life, men. Fight them off with all you have.
So now the Soviet veterans, the heroes of the motherland, are passing their order test and are taking a run action to move towards the center to contest the Stahltruppen.
We are the heroes of the Soviet Union. We must make the motherland proud.
Soviet anti-tank team here, moving, just using an advance order, 6 inches, and getting line of sight onto the Stahltruppen. scoring a hit, but not any wound. So this unit of stall trooping next to their commander, activating with a run order and are attempting to back up their brothers by that center objective. And after successfully doing so, they have found themselves potentially in the line of sight of this T-34 ZP. As it takes aim at those stall trooping with its special Zukioi projector, scoring a couple hits and managing to actually penetrate the power armor of the stall trooping, taking one of them out. Panzer IV activating here, getting a fire order and using its rift dice and taking aim at the rest of the Moraz Ghoul here. So it's going to be 2 attacks for each Moraz Ghoul underneath the template. But unfortunately only able to take one of them out, as they are quite tough. Now, taking a morale check here because he did lose 2 of his minis, but being Moraz Ghoul, having antifreeze run through their veins doesn't seem to faze them. So now the veterans inside the building are attempting to activate, but with 3 pins, unfortunately, they do not pass their test. They are too scared of what's going on outside, and they just go down. Now sniper team taking aim at the stall trooping again with their anti-tank sniper rifle.
There he is. Quick, take the shot.
Scoring a hit, but not able to penetrate the power armor, as the stall trooping are quite tough. Now the anti-tank team on the ground shooting at the Panzer IV, but again the Axis armor seems to be too tough for the Soviet weapons. Moraz Ghoul attempting to activate now, but with their 2 pins and rolling a 10 on the 2 die, unfortunately they just go down. Running in from off the board, a light Kazakh walker shambles in and scurries behind a rock formation outside of line of sight, being certain to be outside of any potential Axis heavy weapons. So now a unit of Ursus infantry runs on the board, following the light Kazakh walker, taking cover behind some rocks. The stall trooping platoon commander now moving up next to his armor and using his rift mastery to actually give one of his active rift dice to the Panther X. And then they're going to be taking aim with their STG SMGs at the Moraz Ghoul. Scoring 2 hits, but only managing a pin, as the Moraz Ghoul are quite tough. So Commissar Drugov now moving on to the board, and unlike his Ursus infantry, choosing not to hide behind any cover, as he doesn't need it. So now the Green Hand using the platoon commander's guts to actually put back the dice for the Panther X. And after drawing their dice, the Panther X moves forward and takes aim again at the T-34 ZP, using its light shining cannon and expends its rift dice. Shooting with the shining cannon here. This is a hyper velocity weapon with +1 to hit and +1 pen, with a damage value 9 roll, and scoring a 2 on the dice. It counts as a full damage roll, counts as 2 full damage rolls, and the T-34 ZP is taken out. So after using their guts, Commissar Drugov now charges into the Stahltruppen in the center objective. And managing a singular wound, the Stahltruppen, they have to roll 6 and a 6. They actually managed to take out one of the bodyguards, even with their hard-to-kill ability. But they are wiped out, and Drugov and his bodyguard reposition next to the objective. Ursus infantry running forward now towards the center objective. And after putting their dice back in the bag, Commissar Drugov now charges into the 2 Stahltruppen in front of them. And attempting to put up a valiant fight, but Drugov and his bodyguard manage to take them down with ease. Now, since we've recorded this game, there's actually been an FAQ. You can't activate a unit more than once with guts, so I just wanted to point that out. You can't necessarily do that sort of thing anymore. So now rolling the rift dice for end of turn here, and we actually get a couple surging dice for the green hand and a singular active dice, so I'm spreading these around to the different Axis armor. And rolling for the Soviet rift dice, Rev managed to get a surging dice as well. This is the end of turn 2 here, with both sides already having some armor taken out, and Commissar Drugov running amok in the center of the board. Start of turn 3 here, and the Soviet ability Harmonic Resonance going off, managing to score a singular pin, and Commissar Drugov attempts to charge the Panther X, but the Panther X is essentially overwatching, attempting to shoot before he runs in.
Quick, turn the turret! We must take him down before he gets to us! Fire! Let's tear that tin can open.
Using their rift dice on the light shotgun cannon, manages to score a hit, but unfortunately there seems to be some sort of rift aura around Commissar Drugov, and the shot scatters. So after managing to deflect a hypervelocity round to the face, Commissar Drugov charges into the Panther X, and him and his bodyguard attempt to take it out. And after a couple rounds of combat, unfortunately aren't able to penetrate the Axis armor. So they'll be locked in combat for the foreseeable future until they can attempt to destroy it. So now the veterans in the center are activating here, passing their test and removing a pin. They move up to the center objective now that there is no Stahltruppen contesting it in the center. So now Light Cossack Walker is shambling forwards, taking aim with its machine guns as well as its light autocannon. And it manages to score a couple hits, but unfortunately is not able to penetrate the Stahltruppen's armor. So now the Morazgul are activating here, successfully passing their order test and removing a pin as well. And they proceed to charge the veterans inside the building. Being that they approach from outside 12 inches, the veterans take aim and shoot at them before they approach, and fight from a defended position, so they're actually able to fight at the same time. And they manage to take out the Morazgul fighting from inside the building. So now, after every unit activation, the ongoing combat continues, and Commissar Drugov and his bodyguard still attempting to try and find a weak spot on the Panther X. This time they managed to score 2 glancing hits. managing to get a 1 and 3 on the superficial damage table. So the Panther X is now stunned, and the turret is jammed. Anti-tank team here running on top of these crates for a future turn, attempting to get a line of sight. And ongoing combat again. Commissar Drugov now manages to actually get another superficial damage roll, whether it be a crew stunned or turret jammed, and takes out the Panther X. And then moves closer towards the building where the veterans are. So now mortars activating here, taking aim and attempting to shoot the veterans in the building, ranging them in. Followed by the Soviet heavy machine gun team, taking aim at the veterans in the building as well. Managing to score a couple hits, as well as a singular damage roll. And with that, one of the veterans is taken out. Failing the morale test, the veteran Volksgrenadier attempts to flee from the building, but the Stahltruppen commander guns him down.
You fool! Where are you going?
Soviet platoon commander moving towards the center of the board here. And now the Panther X is activating after passing its order test. And takes aim at Drugov right next to the building, expending a rift dice from surging to active, and using its Schwerfield projector.
For the love of God, somebody kill that beast! If you don't take him down, he'll kill all of us!
The Drugov and his bodyguard proving to be quite tough. Soviet sniper team activating now with their anti-tank sniper rifle, taking aim at the Panzer IV here with the Schwerfield projector, and scoring a hit, leading to a pin. So now the other mortar team is activating, trying to range in the Panzer X, being that the veteran team was taken out. Now the Stahltruppen commander activating, just passing his order test because he gives himself a bonus, moving over to get a better line of sight on the battlefield.
Damn it! We're falling apart here! Quickly, let's go!
Now the Stahltruppen squad off the board attempt to come in, but after seeing the state of affairs on the board, they decide it's not really their time yet, and they turn around, and after failing their order test, they go down. So the Ursus infantry now running onto the center objective, staring menacingly at the Stahltruppen commander. And after putting their dice back in the bag using the guts from the platoon commander, the mortar squad is ranging in that Panzer IV.
Ready? Fire!
End of turn 3 here now, and the Axis forces are finding themselves in quite some trouble. Rolling rift dice for the units that have expended rift dice. Start of turn 4 here now. Harmonic resonance had no effect, so we're not showing anything. So Soviet forces are up first, and the Light Cossack Walker is charging its full 24 inches, running into the Stahltruppen and attempting to take them out. Stahltruppen having to take a morale test after being run over by a Walker. One of the mortar teams activating now, getting ever closer to ranging in that Panzer IV. Panzer IV activating now, lining up its Schwerfield cannon and attempting to take out Commissar Drugov. But unfortunately, the hard to kill roll on a 5-up, Commissar Drugov and his bodyguard are truly hard to kill. Now Drugov activating, they are using their Rift Dice for their Ursine Fury, charging into the Panzer IV that mildly inconvenienced them.
Crush that stupid tin can! Rip it to shreds!
Fighting with their Ursine Fury with their crazy deadly close combat and their plus pen, they managed to score a couple hits as well as a superficial damage roll of steering compromised. So now the Ursus infantry activating now, running off of the center objective, getting ever so closer to the Stahltruppen. Now with the Stahltruppen commander in danger, finally his Stahltruppen move on the board to his right, and they open up with their shoulder-mounted Panzerfaust, rolling to see how many can fire here. So all three activating, scoring 2 hits, and managing to successfully take out one of the Ursus infantry with their hard-to-kill ability. Now the Stahltruppen platoon commander charging into the Ursus infantry. Being the braggadocious leader that he is, thought he could take out the Ursus infantry, but was seemingly cut to shreds.
Ah! What have we done?
So now, ongoing combat with Commissar Drugov. Attempting to claw their way inside the Panzer IV. Soviet anti-tank team now activating and opening up on the Stahltruppen squad that just moved in on the board, but only scoring a pin. And now the sniper team up on the building is taking aim at that Panther IV, shooting into combat, attempting to not shoot Commissar Drugov, and manages to score a singular pin on the Axis vehicle. Now platoon commander activating here, attempting to range in the mortars. Now the Soviet anti-tank team near the edge of the board, activating here, getting a run order and moving closer to that building. So now the Soviet platoon commander with the flag is getting on top of the structure, claiming the structure for the Soviet Union. And again, ongoing combat going on. This is happening in between each activation, essentially. As Drugov attempts to try and take out the Panzer IV. Turn 5 here now, we're kind of moving quick as units get taken off the board, and the Panzer IV is activating, getting out of combat, and turning its turret around, taking aim at Commissar Drugov, shooting with its Schwerfield projector, activating its Rift Dice for its special ability. And manages to take out the bodyguard. So now Ursus infantry are activating, using their Rift Dice for their Ursine Fury. They are charging straight into the Stahltruppen, seeing if they can cut them down. And the Stahltruppen managing to actually score a singular wound here. They need to roll 6 into a 6 though, and unfortunately they didn't. And with that, all of the Stahltruppen are taken out by these genetically modified grizzly bear freak humanoids. So now the light Cossack walker is shambling forward. This is after I accidentally knocked the model off the table and the leg fell off, so that's my bad, Rev. And takes aim with its light autocannon at the rear of that Panzer IV. So now Commissar Drugov activating, and he is attempting to take out this Panzer IV by himself. And after a couple rounds of combat, unfortunately, is not able to break his way inside the Axis vehicle.
Tear this tank to shreds!
Perhaps he's getting tired after destroying so many Axis units on the board. So now the mortar team is attempting to get a clear line of sight on that Panzer so it can get a clear shot next turn. And the Soviet platoon commander is now moving off of the board, using the Soviet flag to rally behind the Ursus infantry, motivating them. I.e. use their point of guts to put the Ursus infantry's dice in the bag so the Ursus infantry can go again. So end of turn 4 here, now rolling the rift dice for each unit that has an expended rift dice. Still, Commissar Drugov finds himself locked in combat with an Axis vehicle at the end of the turn here. Start of turn 6 here now, and the Panzer X attempting to activate, but unfortunately does not pass its order test. Light Cossack Walker activating here, now shooting into combat, but unfortunately doesn't hit the vehicle. And the Ursus infantry now charging in next to Commissar Drugov to give him some assistance in ripping open the Axis vehicle. After lighting the vehicle on fire, or some effect like that, and failing their morale tests, the Panzer IV flees off the board, running over Commissar Drugov by accident. But, of course, the guy's made of, adamantium or something, so he's fine. And with that, every single Axis force has been either killed or pushed off the board.
It took enough time for you idiots to get here. What took you so long? Now why don't you make yourselves useful? Take that hunk of junk over there and find a way into that container for me, would you? Yes, you see? The legends were true. The rift juice. With this, the Soviet forces shall never fail. I can feel the rift energy flowing through me. Ah!
For the Soviet Union! Hail Mother Russia!
Quickly secure the valuable resources. Something tells me the higher-ups back in Moscow are going to be happy about this one.
Well, thank you so much for watching. My name is Mike from Mike Rolls Dice. This video took me a little while. Sorry for the delay. I have a main YouTube channel where I make fly tying videos and fly fishing stuff, so it's been a busy time of the year trying to manage everything and stay on top of it, but I'm glad to finally get this battle report out. If you're new to the channel, we have a ton of different battle reports here, with everything from Konflikt 47, Bolt Action, Trench Crusade, to one-page rules. Look forward to some more Konflikt 47 here in the future, as well as potentially our first game of 40k here on the channel. Well, thank you so much for watching. My name is Mike from Mike Rolls Dice, and as always, keep rolling high on those dice.